It is estimated more than 1.9 million people will be diagnosed with cancer this year. That's according to the American Cancer Society. But after that frightening diagnosis, some patients are learning more scary news. Local 5's Mary Sugden joins us to explain.
Stephanie, there's a nationwide shortage of chemotherapy drugs, and it's impacting patients right here in the metro. I had the privilege of following a teenager battling cancer at Blank Children's Hospital. He and his family shared their journey with me through the help of a translator. It's been a long journey for JeanCarlos Tenemaza.
98.4.
A journey that started in his home country of Ecuador.
5.25.
Months ago, the 13-year-old left his parents and the world he knew behind, coming to the U.S. to live with his Aunt Blanca. A trip his family hopes will save his life.
So we might need to do a blood transfusion today, depending on how the labs look.
Es posible que tengamos que hacerte una transfusión de sangre hoy, dependiendo de cómo lucen los resultados del análisis de sangre.
The soft-spoken teen battles osteosarcoma, a tumor in his knee.
Well, it's basically a hard knock that life has given me.
Even though mom is thousands of miles away, she's at every appointment, watching and keeping up through Aunt Blanca's cell phone.
Yeah, I feel good listening to my mom talking about me. I feel very grateful to my aunt for helping me also. I do see that he misses his parents a lot and his family because he did not grow up with me in our family. But he does miss his parents and his family a lot. But I'm trying for him to feel good and comfortable. I'm doing everything possible for that so that he can feel good and comfortable.
JeanCarlos got his diagnosis back in Ecuador, where there would likely be a wait before treatment could begin. One day after getting to the U.S., he was already at Blank Children's Hospital.
The doctor explained to us about the chemotherapy and explained that it would be three types of chemotherapy that he was going to receive.
But there was a problem.
Certainly the chemotherapy shortage has impacted patients nationwide. For JeanCarlos, this has been especially difficult.
This meant JeanCarlos' journey would take another direction.
So we have to go wherever the medicine is, and in that case, it's in Iowa City.
Meaning hundreds of miles of travel for treatment on top of Blanca's work schedule.
And then there were days that I had to leave him there alone.
I certainly worry about what could happen in the future. You never know in any given week or given month what the chemotherapy supply is going to look like. Well, it's been very stressful for the doctors in our group, but I can only imagine how stressful it is for the families and the patients who need this medicine.
We are experiencing unprecedented shortages in chemotherapy drugs that have never been an issue before.
Blank Children's Hospital medical director and pediatric hematologist-oncologist Dr. Wendy Woods says previously it wasn't uncommon to see one chemo drug have a short-term shortage.
Now we're seeing multiple drugs, and it continues. We continue to see news notices from the FDA, from the manufacturers about impending shortages, and they're not corrected in the time frame that we're used to seeing them corrected in.
She says there's not one reason why this is happening.
One company in 4 stopped making drug altogether, which impacted supply for everyone. For some of the other companies, it's been production issues, supply chain issues is what we're being told.
According to Dr. Woods, the drugs in shortage aren't unique to a single type of cancer. They're used across the board in leukemias, lymphomas, and bone tumors. With no let-up in sight, she says the FDA is approving sanctions to allow for alternative drugs to be utilized.
Because the American drug production is low, that all is very hard to stomach some days. We live in the greatest country in the world, and we can't keep our supply up to treat our most fragile patients.
Doctors are also reducing doses within a reasonable window to stretch supply.
There is no comfort in telling a patient and their family that their child has cancer, that they have cancer, and then the follow-up sentence is, we don't know if we have enough supply to treat you at this time.
It means providers have to give more bad news. Without ample supply, patient survival is at risk.
The honest truth is we know that it will impact survival overall, but no one knows how it's going to impact the survival for one single patient. It's impossible to tell a family exactly, I know this is going to, we had a 9 out of 10 chance, now it's 5. I don't have the ability to predict that, which makes it even harder to stomach a cancer diagnosis right now.
So for now, the journey to remission for cancer patients like JeanCarlos means a much harder fight.
So Stephanie, there is some good news. Towards the end of JeanCarlos' chemo treatments, Blank Children's Hospital received that drug that he was going to Iowa City for. So instead of that back and forth, he was able to receive all of the drugs he needed right here in town. So for him, the next step will be surgery on that tumor.
So some good news there. That's great to hear. And Mary, are doctors getting any idea on when those drugs will return to a more normal supply?
What I'm hearing from doctors is that really remains unclear. It doesn't appear that anything will be immediately fixed. For example, when I was at Blank towards the end of June, what they were hearing from some suppliers is that they wouldn't have a restock for some of those drugs until the end of July at the earliest.
It's got to be so frustrating for those doctors
Absolutely.
and those families. All right, Mary, thank you.